Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at how to analyze actual sales versus sales targets. And I'll be using Power BI to perform this analysis. We'll start out with a business example just to understand the context and the importance of monitoring the sales comparison. I'll guide you guys through the different steps on how to track and evaluate both actual sales figures and their corresponding targets. And as we journey through Power BI, you'll see how I present these numbers in visual formats, offering a clear view of sales achievements versus set objectives. By the end of this video, you'll be better equipped to understand where your sales are relative to your established target. Let's jump into Power BI and get started. So here you guys can see the actual sales versus sales target dashboard that we want to create. And this is kind of where we want to end up. And you can see, we have sales amount, we have some targets, and it's shown on different dimensions and different values. Now, before we go into this, let's take a look at the use case. What is it that we're actually trying to solve, and let's understand that better. So the first thing is a mail from a stakeholder. So dear awesome data analyst, I hope you're doing splendidly. As we approach the end of the quarter, there's a buzz in the sales department. Everyone's talking numbers, achievements, and forecasts. While I have the raw figures at hand, I'm finding it a challenge to discern how close we are to the aspirations we set at the start of this period. I recall at the beginning of the quarter, we laid down certain milestones, certain benchmarks we aim to hit. Now, as we are nearing its end, I'd like to know how our actual performance stacks up against these benchmarks. Are we overachieving in certain areas? Perhaps there are other areas that needs a closer look. Your perspective and visual representation of our sales journey this quarter, especially in comparison to our goals, would be an invaluable asset as we set the stage for our next quarter's strategy. It's time like these when I truly appreciate the clarity your analysis brings to the table. Awaiting your insights, best, Charlie Thompson, VP of Sales and Strategy. Now, this is just an example of an engagement that you can get from a stakeholder. It could be an email, it could be a phone call, it could be a Zoom call, it could be a chat, by the water dispenser or whatever. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that when you get something like this, you need to start thinking, okay, what is it that this means? What am I trying to solve, and what is it that I need to gather of data? What kind of changes, transformations do I need to do? And how do I present this to be able to solve this for the stakeholder? So take a minute, take a moment now and think about that before you move with me to the next step, which is some user stories to give us that focus. Pause the video if you have to, take out pen and paper and try and write, okay, if this is what I got, what would I put a line under? What would I focus on? What is a little bit hard to understand? Think about where does your head go? Where does your focus go when you read this? Remember that we are solving business problems and we're trying to help the business achieve something. So you need to kind of start to train yourself to handle these types of engagements so that you create progress and business value for stakeholders. Enough about that. Let's take a look at the user stories that I have outlined based on. The first thing is quarterly sales milestones check. As the VP of Sales and Strategy, I want to compare our actual quarterly sales against our pre-set milestones to gauge our progress. Okay, notice quarterly, important. Highlight overachieving segments. As the VP of Sales and Strategy, I want to identify product lines or regions where sales have surpassed our targets to acknowledge success and replicate those successful strategies. Makes sense. Number 3, spotlight underperforming areas. As the VP of Sales and Strategy, I want to highlight areas where sales lag behind our targets to recalibrate our efforts or strategies. Where do we need to do something is what he wants to understand. Visual comparison of actual versus target. As the VP of Sales and Strategy, I want a side-by-side visual comparison of our actual sales and sales targets to intuitively understand our performance. Visual representation that makes it easy to understand the performance is what he's looking for. And then basically evaluate sales forecast accuracy. As the VP of Sales and Strategy, I want to measure the accuracy of our initial sales forecasts to refine our future predictions. How good are we at saying that we're going to sell this, and how far away are we? Because that also is very important. Now, before we move on, let's make sure we understand the KPIs that we're working with. So actual sales versus sales target compares the actual sales achieved in a given period to the pre-established sales goals or targets for that period. Fairly straightforward. For June, our company set a sales target of selling 1,000 units of a product. By the end of the month, 1,200 units were sold. Thus, actual sales exceed the target by 200 units or 20%. We overperformed. Great. How can we apply this? How can we use this? By analyzing the discrepancy between actual sales and sales targets, enables businesses to gauge their performance and the effectiveness of their sales strategies. It highlights areas of success where goals are met or exceeded and points out potential areas for improvement where targets are not achieved. This analysis aids in future planning, budgeting, and strategic decision making to better align business effort with desired outcomes. Take a moment, read the page one more time, and start with thinking, okay, if I were to apply this KPI either in the future or now, maybe at a company that you work for, how would you do that? How would this help someone in your business? Is what you should ask yourself now. So now we know what is it that we're trying to solve, what is the context, what is the KPI. We've spoken about some of the examples. Let's now jump into Power BI and start to actually shape this. So the end product that we want to end up with is, I created something like this. And then, how you do this as you follow along with this video is up to you. But this is what I came up with. But try to think and try to play around with this. You don't need to do it exactly as I do it. This is just an example, and that's the whole point. We have customer segment, product name, sales team. We have some KPIs here, sales amount, target amount, the achievement over different products, different quarters, and then some drill down capabilities. So this is where we want to end up. So I don't have an empty file. Let me create a new one, new, and then we are going to get a new Power BI desktop file, and I'm going to connect that to the data, which is the underlying data for this, and then we will start to shape this. So let's go to get data. We'll go to text slash CSV, and I'm going to go to actual sales versus sales target, and I'm going to load in that CSV. And now we connect to that CSV file. We get a preview, which you can see now, and we're just going to take a look at this in Power Query when we go to transform data. Here you can see some different columns, and just for the sake of it, we can go through. We have a sales date, we have a fixtures product name, a sales amount, sales target, region, sales representative, team, and customer segment. That is the columns we have, and that is what we're going to use as we work through this example. So I'm going to go close and apply, and now it's going to load that data into Power BI. So you'll see now on the right side, it's going to start to populate some data here, and that is what you can work with. So I'm going to refer back and forth to this one and back to that one. So the first thing that I want to do this time is, I know that there's a date table, which I need here to be able to look at these metrics over different types of fields based on the date. Now this is a table which is generated by DAX, data analysis expressions. It's not something I read in from a file. This is being generated by code in Power BI. So I'm going to go Control A or Control C for copy. We're going to go to modeling. We're going to go new table, and then I'm just going to go Control V. And here you can see it's asking for some fields that I need to refer to. So I need to search for sale date. That is the date that we are going to connect to this table. So sale date. And then it's going to create some columns down here. The year column, the month name short, month number, quarter name, quarter number, based on this date. So it knows what range it needs from the min and the max, from the lowest date to the highest date. So we cover all dates, and then we will connect that. So I'm going to hit enter, and you can see now it's going to create this table. The next thing that we want to do is we want to go into this model view on the left. And then you can see we will now have two tables. We have the one I read from the CSV, and we have the one I just generated by DAX. The next thing is I grab the date column and I connect it to the sale date. So you're going to see now, we got an error, it's a bug. So we're going to close this. I guess I'm going to teach you guys something a little bit more complicated. So we're going to take from this one up there. You would do it the other way, but now you can see what happens is that, and try to bear with me. It's a one-to-one relationship, and it is a filtering going both ways. We don't want that. We want the date table to filter the fact table with our values. So I'm going to double click this one. You can also see it here. It says cardinality here on the right side. I'm going to click this one. That gives me this perspective. I'm going to go cancel. I can also click here, open relationship editor. Gives me the same perspective. Great. So I want this to be for a lot of different rows. In this one, there is one row in the date table that can filter that. There's one date per row in the date table, which can filter a lot of different dates where there are transactions in this actual versus target sales data set. So we're going to go, there's many in this one and there's one in this one. So we're going to go many to one, and it's going to be a single way filtering. It's going to filter from this one down that way. So there's a one number here, there's a star here for many, and it filters from the top down there. That's how you want it to behave. A little bit advanced for this video, but we had to do this because of that bug, and I've seen that before. But great. Now we have two tables, they are connected. We're starting to get the stuff we need to start to build stuff. When we refer back, I want to add these calculations before I start to do anything else. So let's go, sales amount is the sum of, let's go, the column needs sales amount. So we're going to underscore sales amount equals sum. So I start to write what I want, enter, open parentheses. So we can even go sum and then tab. It creates the open parentheses for you. It's up to you, whatever you prefer. I like to go sum space, open parentheses. And I search for the column I want. So I just start to type the name of the column that I want. Sales amount, close parentheses. So what I did is sum, open parentheses. I can type amount. I find the column. I hit tab. It finishes it for me. Close parentheses. Enter. So now we have that. The next thing is new measure, and we're gonna go sales target. So we want sales target. Same thing, equals sum sales target. This time I'm just gonna start to write SAL for sales, and I'm gonna tab down to target. Hit the tab. It closes it. Close parentheses. Enter. Now I have that. So now we can one more. I need the percentage of sales amount out of target. So I'm going to go right click, new measure, and we're going to go, let's what did I call it? Sales target achieved percentage. Okay, underscore sales target achieved percentage equals divide, and it'll be underscore. Actually, we can bracket so we get all the measures, sales amount, comma, bracket, sales target, close, divide x by y, close it. So what we've done now is we haven't started to build anything, but we have all the building blocks now. So now we can start to do stuff. So we have a table, we have a date table connected to that. We connected it, established the relationship, made the measures. All the building blocks that we need in Power BI to create the report is now in place. Great. So I want to start with this top part, the actual sales versus sales target. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to copy paste this one in just to show you guys. I can take one element, Control C, go back, Control V, and that copies it in. Then I'm going to go to View. I'm going to change this one. I usually take the classroom theme. Let's do classic, just to show you guys. But notice it changed the text now, and it's also going to change the color palette, which is available. So I'm going to do this one. And then we have customer segment, product name, sales team. I'm going to cheat a little bit more. I'm going to grab this month, Control C, Control V. This works because we have the same column names in the other file and this file. If I want to create, let's say I want to create this year one, let me show you guys how to do that. I go to slicers, I find year, I add that to the field. I am going to change this to a tile. Then I get these nice boxes. I like this type of navigation for date. Gonna line it up. Let me get this right. Select it, line it up. Shift, left arrow on your keyboard. make it the same size. I'm going to click this one, home, format painter, and format it. So now I stole the formatting from the one on the left and applied it to the one on the, from the one on the right and applied it to the one on the left to save some time. I can also see, actually never mind, we're going to come back to that part. I want to show you guys how to do that later. Let's add a slicer. We have customer segment. Let me close this one, I don't need this one. Customer segment. On the fields, and I'm going to shift one down. Effects, I'm going to go turn it to white, and then properties, slicer settings, and drop down. We're going to use the default drop down. Open it, close it, looks good, perfect. To make it stand out, I've clicked the white background here, which allows me to format the entire page. Canvas background, color. I usually do gray. We can stick with that. Maybe we can try something else just for the sake of it. Let's just try. If you want a different background color, maybe we can go with, it's a little bit dark. What about purple? I don't know. Maybe we should stick to, okay, let's just take this one. Just once again, just for the sake of the video, and you guys can play around with this. Customer segment, Control C. Sorry, let me just select this one. Control C, Control V, and we drag. How did I move both? Okay, shift down. Once again, shift down. We have customer segment, we have product name. Let's go. Great. Where's the last one? Sales team. So customer C, Control C, and then line it up. Shift down. We drag it down, and I want to go sales team. This one I'm gonna make it, and I'm gonna open it again. So this one we go to slicer settings, vertical list. Let's make this one into a list. It's not the longest list, but let's do it like that, just to mix it up a little bit. Sales amount, target amount, sales target achieved percentage. Okay, let's go. We have this KPI. So we have sales amount, and we have a typo. So let's go sales. And I want you to notice when I change this, it's going to change here also, because I am only changing the measure which is being referred other places. So if you don't change this name custom wise, it will always refer to the same name as in the measure. Think about that in terms of efficiency as you get more and more into Power BI. Let's turn this on. Let's do like that. Let's okay, but this is fine size wise. Sales amount, and then we had sales target. I'm going to show you guys how to do this also. If I click this one, nothing happens. If I uncheck that one and then click that one, it goes in by itself. Sales target, we go Control C, and then we want sales target percentage achieved. You can see it's not showing as a percentage. Let's click this one and turn it into a percentage. So now we have that, and I'm actually gonna, I'll keep this as millions now. You can change the formatting if you want to. I'm gonna keep them. Here I have the full amounts. It's up to you. So this one, okay. So we're gonna add a line and clustered column chart to show this over time. So let's do it like this. And I believe this is month name short. Now I'm going to show you guys. Give me a second. Sales amount on the column y-axis, sales target on the column y-axis to compare, and sales target achieved goes as a line across. Great. Now you can see the different months here, and they are not sorted logically. They should be sorted by the month and the number of the month. Let me just change the background real quick so it pops a little bit. That's better. So what we can do now is we're going to go to month name short, and sorry, here also in the slicer, let me click here also in the slicer, you can see it's also not logically sorted. But because we're referring to the same column in different places, I'm going to now select this one, sort by column, and then we're going to go month number. Now both of them are going to sort. This one's sorted, and if I now select this one, sort by month name short, and we got to sort it the other way, basically ascending throughout the year, it will now sort correctly. So remember that if you have a month name or month name short, make sure you have a number so that you can sort it correctly according to that. We also have, let's see, another graph that shows something similar. So let's copy this one and let's just change this to, I believe it is product name. So it'd be like this. So we have different products and we are trying to see which one of them are doing better or worse than budget. I think that doesn't look very good. Let's give it some more space. So let's make that a little bit smaller. Shift right. Let's drag this one up here. I gave these ones too much space. Let's make this the same size. Oh, same size. There we are. Shift right, then I can drag you, make you the same size. Perfect. So now I can give you a little bit more. Shift right, and then I can give you even more. Great. So we have that. Fine. Last one is this matrix. So we're going to add this matrix table or pivot table if that suits you better. So we'll go region on the rows. We will go, I think it was sales team. Yep. And then I think it goes down to sales representative. And you can see there's no plus signs. Actually, before we do anything, let's click this one. Format painter. Let's take the formatting that we can, so I don't have to set some of the stuff again. I'll go shift down. Great. Then we need to go to this, format your visual, row headers, turn on these icons so you get these nice plus signs. Then you can go one down. We could go two down, but I think that's a little bit too much. That gives us a lot of scrolling. Let's start with this. And we want, what do we have? This is sales target achievement, I believe. So it's sales target achieved. We'll go that on the values. So now we have that. We have the total. We want it over columns, over the months. So this is great. If you want to, you can add quarter above this one. And then you can drill either on the rows or on the columns. See now? Now it's going to drill from left to right. If I now go to rows, now it's going to drill downwards. Up to you. Two different ways of doing it. Let's keep it like this. But now at least you've seen it. So that's good. So we have different quarters and we have different months inside the quarters. Let's right click this one. Conditional formatting. Let's do, I was thinking, can we go icons? Let's see what happens. I'm trying to do some stuff a little bit on the fly here just to see if it helps us. I think this is, we could have added icons on different statuses, but let's go with conditional formatting, background color. Let's try a rule. If it is over 1, the number, and less than something arbitrary, then we set green. If it is less or greater than or equal to minus 5,000 and less than 1, then we go red. Let's just see. So then you can see who is above or who is below target. Let's remove these icons. Okay, so there are some totals here on the quarters. Can we remove those columns, subtotals? There we are. Okay, so we can do it like this just to show who is above or below. If you want to, you can add one more step on this. If we now open one region, then it will show again who is above or below. So overall, I guess they're performing quite well since they're all close to 100. But it gives a difference between above or below. And if you want to make the colors a little bit more intuitive. You can go to more colors. We can go to green. Let's try and make this a little bit more, you know, green is good, red is not so good. Let's try something like that. Maybe not the nicest colors that I've used, but I think you guys get the point here. Let me try and find something that looks a little bit nicer. Let's say, let's just do, if you're above, you're white. If you're below, you're red. Just to identify the ones that are performing below. Okay, so let's say this is our end dashboard. This is where we are. Now let's go back to our user stories and take a look. So here we are. So first one is quarterly sales milestone check. I want to compare our actual quarterly sales against our preset milestones to gauge our progress. So I actually, if I handed this off, then you will need to drill up on the columns, and then you can see it per quarter down here. Maybe not the most intuitive way. So here we could have added, quarter name on the month name short here, so you can drill down on this one. Maybe that's a better way of doing it, because you can drill down like this. I think I probably would have changed it to something like that when I read that. Highly overachieving segments. I've actually focused more on the sales team and sales representatives. So here we could have said that we should have changed it to actually be first customer segment and then go into the teams that are below there, and maybe not even show the sales representative level. So maybe that is the right change here to make this even better. Maybe spotlight underperforming areas. You know, where does it lag behind? So here we can see at least per quarter how it is lagging behind. Sorry, now we can see it per quarter. And I guess we could try to, you know, gauge which region and then which customer segment is doing good or bad. I'm trying to look at the numbers here. Some of them are clearly doing better than other ones. So we could have kept it like this maybe. Visual comparison of actual versus target. I think we have that here for the different products and for the quarters or the months. Oops, let's just go down to months if we want that. So I think that one's fine. Forecast accuracy. I mean, I'd say they were quite accurate here, but because you can see over time, you can really drill into different places here. Like here, you know, if you wanted to do that on this one, you would have had to add maybe like the sales amount. Let's just call that AMT. We add one more. The thing is, it becomes such a wide table when you have these ones. But if you give them very short names for the columns, then you can start to look at, okay, what was the amount we said? What was the target? And then the percentage. But of course, it becomes a very wide table left to right. So maybe if they did this and they had a filter for a quarter, then it would have made sense, because then it will look like this. And then it's not so wide. It's a little bit easier to work with. So maybe that's the solution here. So I think I did a okay job on this one. I think we have answered some of them, but I do think that if this is what I responded to those user stories with this dashboard, they will probably come back. I will probably have to iterate on this a couple times, which is totally normal. But I think it's a good starting point, and I do think it helps them getting going when it comes to analyzing actual sales versus sales targets. That brings us to the end of our exploration on actual sales compared to sales target. If today's video was useful, then I would appreciate if you give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, or maybe share the video with someone else. For any questions or feedback, then feel free to comment below and I will get back to you guys there. Other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.